Ooh, baby, I look cute. Hi and welcome back to the Estrella Show. I'm Estrella. If you want to be an Estrellita, it's not that hard to get. Like, all you gotta do, you just gotta like, cause you like me, hopefully. Cause you see, people say that they like you, and then they don't do anything about it. But anyways, comment if you feel cute, and then all together. Now, if you haven't done it, follow the hand down there, hit the red button, subscribe. So I decided that for this video we're gonna continue the A&R series and we're gonna talk about pop, because I feel like R&B deserves two different videos. R&B is very messy, and I also do not want to awaken the Brent Fires stands on Twitter. Do you get? So I'm just gonna leave it there. One thing I need to make clear is that when you talk about pop is short for popular music, okay? That's the idea, that's the essence, that's where the name comes from. Do you get? So I feel like there's some common assumption that pop music is just white people music, and it's not. It's just not, because you can have black pop artists too. You know, let's not be silly here. But when we talk about pop music, more or less, we're talking about 1950s to now. Yes, it's an art, but the majority of the characteristics are to do with how the human brain can perceive and receive music, and the ways of optimizing these perceptions in order for the human ear to listen to this music enough times to make enough money for these labels. So all it is, love. There are some, artists who, produce art and not just there to bang their buck, but it's just pop music. By the word, the onomatopoeia pop surprises you, but it doesn't last long. It's supposed to catch you off guard, so it's catchy, if that makes sense. But then, because the onomatopoeia of the word is pop, you blow a bubble and the bubble bursts as quickly as it grows. Are you hearing? In the 1950s and 60s, the majority of pop music encompassed rock and roll and more like youth styles that just seemed to be very accessible to the human ear. Like the late 1960s, pop music wasn't necessarily like guitar type music, do you know what I mean? Because you see, them times, that's when the Beatles, or they were raining and all them and there. But when it got to the late 60s, it became less centered about rock and roll and the youth-oriented styles that it influenced, and it became more about music that is commercial and ephemeral. I think ephemeral is the word of the day. I'm gonna put it at the bottom. Ephemeral means lasting for a very short time, okay? So that's your word of the day. I think it's easy to say that pop music tends to be music that charts well on the charts, and I don't really feel like that's fair, if that makes sense, because pop music, there are certain characteristics that make it pop music, and some things that chart on the charts, it doesn't chart because it's pop music. Sometimes it charts because it's a really good hip-hop song, it's a really good rock and roll song. Sometimes it's like some DJ mix that's charting because of an app like Vine, Musically, or TikTok. And sometimes it's like the songs that aren't really songs, like the songs that were made for a dance, if that makes sense. Like Juju on the Beat, Hit the Quan, See Slide, on all them and there. So I think it's not fair to say that any music that charts well on the charts is pop music, but it's an indicator, because pop songs are supposed to be hits because of how they're manufactured and how they're supposed to appeal to our psyche. I don't think it's fair to say that they're synonymous, alright? So this pop music formula is also a formula that you might see to resonate in the greats of today, like Drake or Taylor Swift or Beyonce sometimes, or Rihanna sometimes, or not even Ariana, because Ariana makes art. You see them and there's a formula, okay? There's a formula, yeah, that will make you like the music. The majority of these pop music they have a good rhythm, okay, a catchy hook. Yes, goody, a catchy hook. It has to come like crack. It needs to be addictive. It needs to be something that you're repeating. It needs to be something where you just open a biscuit tin and then you start rapping it. It needs to be a thing where somebody is talking to you, they say one word that triggers it, and now you're singing the hook, now you're singing the chorus, now you're singing the whole song. Like, this is what pop music is. As other genres, yeah, they chart well because they're good songs, but also those other songs, they're art because they have a meaning, they have a purpose, they have a message to portray. But the majority of the time when it comes to pop music, there is a limited amount of content that they talk about. Like, most of the time it's about love, lovey, kiss, sex, what else, relationships, breakups, you know, that's the same as love. And sometimes they may be a little bit more philanthropic, I have a list, but songs that are about global warming, poverty, famine, AIDS, and all them, and their suicide. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones to make a brighter day, so let's start giving. They tend to have some sort of a message that is to do with the world, you know, world issue that will congregate us, you know, anti-capitalism, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ plus rights, culture, and then dance. A lot of pop music is responsible for a lot of dances you know today. That makes sense. So when you actually listen to the song, like minus the dance, you will notice that there is a good rhythm. You'll notice that there's a catchy hook. You'll notice that there's a clear structure of a song. They have 2 or more verses. They have a catchy hook, chorus. In fact, hooks aren't necessary, but they'll have a verse, bridge, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, and then that's it. As long as you have a rhythm, as long as the hook chorus is catchy, then it's very rare to find a pop song that's over 4:30. MJ's music, his music tends to be like on the later side towards 4 minutes, but then that's just MJ for you. MJ is known as the king of pop, and I think people need to recognize that when we talk about MJ, yeah, the guy brought to the forefront a celebration and a fusion of the disco, funk, R&B thing, presented it to an audience with a catchy hook and a good music video, and we were all bopping. And he gave us dances that were attached to the song, but the difference was that the songs MJ was performing and bringing to the people, the songs were actually good. Like, we weren't just listening to the song because we wanted to do the dance. The dance came afterwards. You see these people nowadays, it's like the dance is what makes the song. No, the song is what makes the dance. That's the origin, that's the origin of a this thing. See how a Thriller, everybody knows Thriller night, but I promise you, as a child, everybody was doing Thriller. Oh, my neck. There's a dropout thing where like the bass and the drums like aren't there anymore, to build an anticipation so that when the chorus comes, it hits you and it will stick in your head by force and you cannot get it out. The middle 8 is basically an 8-bar section that introduces like a new material, so in terms of like a new lyrical rhyme pattern, new melody, new chords, a new rhythm, and it's like the last thing you hear before you go back to the last chorus. Like, I'm really struggling to come up with an example. Okay, you know on Queen, Nicki Minaj Queen, you know the song Rich Sex, when it goes rich who got bricks too, the rich get richer, that's my ritual, bricks too, link man to Mac took the Wraith, me and Toon flew. That's new material. It was a new lyrical rhyme pattern, and the chords and the rhythm were the same, but that's an example of a middle 8. It's supposed to reinforce the distant. For those that care, pop music, when the tempo, it can change, because at one point I remember like that 2013, 2014, basically 2010 to 2014 or 2013, argue with me, but the type of pop music we were hearing on the charts tended to be EDM, tended to be techno house based, if that makes sense. So those pop songs tended to be very, very fast and had a good breakdown of the beat, which gave you space to do shuffling. I'm not gonna shuffle for you guys because shuffling is very, very hard. It's not my strength. I'm not gonna try. I'll insert a video of me shuffling here just to make you feel happy. But all those songs where they were doing the shuffling, this 10, they had very, very, very fast 160 beats per minute is a bit fast. And all you needed was a female powerhouse, like someone like Paloma Faith or Ella Aya. People have forgotten Ella Aya. And Dua Lipa, Emily Sandé, Ellie Goulding. I don't know if Ellie Goulding counts as a powerhouse, but you just needed a good voice, a good belter, a good EDM beat from Calvin Harris or David Guetta or Avicii, and you were fine. The majority of pop people is either that they came from a group, or they blew up by themselves, or they're an ex-act. So the ones that came from a group, like Michael Jackson, like Beyonce, although when Beyonce went solo, she started off strictly traditional R&B, and that kind of ended when she did I Am Sasha Fierce, and then came back a little bit after 4. But then after 4, she completely forgot about that and thought she could rap. Then the ones that came up on their own, like Madonna and Janet Jackson, proper, that's pop music, okay? Pop music. Madonna is like a cultural icon. Like, she's done a lot. From the feminist this thing, the sexual liberation this thing, the philanthropic this thing, the LGBT ballroom culture Vogue this thing. She's been there and she's done that. What the thing is, you need to recognize is that a pop artist has to create a culture. If you're not creating a culture, you're not gonna last, love. You're just gonna have a couple 3 to 4 songs that will blow and then we'll forget about you. But if as a pop artist you create a culture, then bro, we're just not gonna be able to get rid of you. Like Drake, we can't get rid of him. No, we cannot get rid of Drake. Like, I don't think you guys are deep in it. Like, this guy has been able to do a mix of the toxic masculinity this thing, the braggadocio rap this thing, the vulnerable situationship with women this 10, yeah, with the singing this 10, then throwing some Spanish, then throwing some Afro beats, and then he's blown. And we can't get rid of him because he knows this formula. He knows what's gonna stay in your head, and he knows the type of content that appeals to the people, and he won't stop. We cannot get rid of him. The guy will give you a 5 out of 10 album and you guys will still eat it up. More life is poop. Where pop starts to like divide and separate is when the music makes you feel different things. Like, there's just the normal feel good pop music, there's the breakup song type pop music, there's the dance pop, like the R&B pop. And technically R&B pop is contemporary R&B, if you do not know that, okay? I'll explain it in the next video. When the music starts to make you feel a certain thing or has a big influence in the production, like EDM, that's when the pop isn't just pop music, it becomes like something else, like dance pop, pop rap, you know, all of those things, contemporary R&B. That's when it starts to change up, okay? Thank you. But the thing is about pop music, all you need to blow is if the lyrics aren't gonna be anything to surprise. It's about vocals. You need to be able to sing, and if you cannot sing, auto-tune is your friend. It's your friend. T-Pain and Akon they invented auto-tune. So all you rappers that are using auto-tune, I want to disrespect T-Pain. Bye bye. Yeah, pop music, it's about the production, it's about the lyrics, and it's about the vocals. It's not necessarily about the live performance. That's when it turns away from being pure pop, and that's when it turns to being an actual genre. Do you get what I'm saying? Because pop music is like, it's just a song that you just play. You don't necessarily need the artist to perform it, if that makes sense. When you start giving me Beychella sort of production, okay, that's not pop music, that's something different. You're giving me a fantasy, you're selling me something, you're giving me an experience, okay, and you're giving me culture. Then that culture is actually attributed to a genre that's different. Whereas pop music isn't necessarily supposed to have a culture. It's not supposed to necessarily have a fantasy to be sold, because the music is made to make money. The music is made to appeal to your ear. It's supposed to be aesthetically pleasing to your ear. It's not supposed to make your ears bleed. It's supposed to make you want to dance. It's supposed to make you want to cry. It's supposed to make you want to laugh and smile. It's not got a culture. Pop music is supposed to, in its very etymology, appeal to the masses. Therefore, technically there isn't a pop culture. There's only a pop culture when the pop culture at the time of analysis is linked to an existing genre. For example, pop culture right now tends to be a little bit more ethnic, for all, whatever you want to say, a little bit more ethnic right now. Hip-hop is pop. I hope you know that. Hip-hop is pop, okay? It is pop. Ever since 2014, ever since Taylor was twerking and Shake It Off, ever since Katy Perry collaborated with Juicy J to make Dark Horse, ever since Drake remixed Versace, ever since that point in that 2013-2014 period, that's when hip-hop and trap became pop. It's becoming popular. It has the catchy hook. It has that verse. It does have that verse structure. Look out for it for yourself. It has that verse, bridge, chorus, verse, middle eight, chorus structure. Okay, thank you. So all you people that say, oh, pop is dead, hard to say that pop is dead, because when was it ever alive? Pop is literally a zombie. It's just something that's feeding off of everything else, okay? In its literal origin, it's not a genre. It's just popular songs that have certain characteristics that I've mentioned: a catchy hook, a drop out somewhere, a middle A, a certain amount of content, a good vocal powerhouse, you know, maybe a DJ like Calvin Harris or like Macedona Beho. Like, don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. So be very careful when you want to start talking your name on pop music. Yeah, pop culture doesn't exist. It's linked to an actual genre. So pop music right now tends to be a little bit more hip-hop. Maybe you can have an argument for the reggaeton this thing, but you people aren't giving it the time of day right now. You guys are loving off Drake. You guys are loving off that silly song with Meg and that other person. You people worship the ground that Beyonce walks on. So for the very time being, pop music right now, to the older white people that are about 60 or 70 years old right now, they will call pop right now urban, but urban is not a nice word. So yeah, thank you. Pop culture doesn't exist. Look at the song, look at the genre, and then you'll know what culture we're talking about. Thank you. Taylor Swift is the queen. Katy Perry is dusted. Demi Lovato, you had one song and we forgot about you. Selena, we forgot about you because you're no longer Justin Bieber's thing. Meghan Trainor, I'm sorry that we failed you. You can still sing, I still bump your music. Ariana, you are not a pop artist, okay? We know that you are an R&B artist. Dash these white people 1 or 2 pop songs and give us our R&B. Thank you. before, if I mentioned pop music to somebody, they'll just think it's some white people music. And I think that's ultimately attributed to a lack of understanding and a lack of awareness when it comes to music and the culture surrounding music. And mostly to do with radio play, because some radio DJs spin the same songs, but I promise you nowadays radio is very different. I think people think pop is white people music because the last time they listened to radio was 2012, unless you've been listening to No Signal, which is different. But I hope this makes sense, because it does. I've been talking for a very long time. It's gonna take a long time to edit, but don't stress, stay blessed. You're too anointed to be disappointed. Like, comment and subscribe. You notice I've stopped doing that. It's because it's long. I don't like doing it. It's long, it's childish, and I need to get my graphics up. So yeah. Brown Passion Twist Estrella, she is out. Just say that you do not know music and move on. Thank you. When it comes to music, because music comes from culture, our culture nowadays is very much political and very much racialized and segregated, like mentally. So it makes it hard for me to talk about popular music, because if we're talking about popular, technically everybody thinks that white people are the majority here, and I don't know if they are, but you see what I mean? Like, it's like R&B and hip hop is supposed to be made by black people for black people, and therefore it's very hard to argue on Twitter that Ariana Grande is an R&B singer. Like nobody talks about white R&B singers on Twitter without bringing up a conversation about cultural appropriation. Some people still think that Bruno Mars is a cultural appropriator. Life, innit? Life. Estrella is a uni babe. Look at my hair, it's a wave. Passion twist, you know the sitch. I pull up on a dusty. I'm not gonna swear. If I was you, I'd want to be me too. Your wig just smells like poo. I don't want to be you. Okay. Somebody will say this is IVD bars, but I don't care.